All right, so you want to build a brand that really pops. Well, today we're going to dive deep into a branding story by Tyler Dorsey to figure out how to make that happen.
And this is serious insider advice. Dorsey's been working in B2C marketing for over 10 years.
He's been in the trenches.
He has. And he's taken all that experience and created this framework anyone can use.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and we're going to break down the most important stuff for you so you can actually use it.
Love it. So where do we even begin?
Well, Dorsey starts with something that I feel like people kind of gloss over sometimes.
Ooh.
He asks, is your brand serving the many needs of a few or the few needs of many?
Hmm. I've never thought of it like that.
Right. It's kind of deep when you really dig into it. And that's the core of what he calls alignment.
Alignment. So it's not just about picking like a target market.
Oh, it's way more than that.
Okay.
It's about understanding why your customers, your core customers, why they're drawn to you. Dorsey even talks about doing things like listening to recordings of customer service calls to understand that why.
Wow, I don't think I'd ever think to do that. But it makes sense if you're trying to get to the heart of what makes people tick.
Exactly. It's like, why do people choose your brand over all the others out there? It might even be fulfilling a need that they don't even realize they have,
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
And this is where that 80-20 rule is so important. You know that one, right?
Yeah.
Figuring out what that 20% of your customers who are driving 80% of your revenue really want.
That's the key.
That's how you unlock serious brand loyalty.
It's like when you find that brand that just gets you.
Yes, exactly.
That's alignment in action.
Yeah.
But how do you keep that going, you know? How do you hold on to that magic?
Well, Dorsey says the answer is consistency.
Consistency, okay.
And this is where I think his approach really stands out. See, he says that a lot of brands, they think being consistent means things get boring or they can't change. But he says that growth and change are actually super important. And to make it all work, he's got this tool he calls the BNNA exercise.
BNNA.
Yeah, BNNA.
All right, break that down for me. What is that?
So it stands for beginning, now, next, after that.
Okay.
And it's all about analyzing why your brand exists, but at different points in time. And he's a big proponent of using both qualitative and quantitative data.
Both. Okay.
So you got to look at where your brand started, what was the need it was trying to fill back then, and where are you now in relation to that. But here's the kicker. Where do you want to go next? And how is that going to connect with your core customers way down the line?
I love that. So you're not just trying to stay true to your roots, you're making sure those roots are strong enough to support where you want to go.
Exactly. And to keep everything on track, Dorsey actually recommends revisiting this BNNA thing every 30 days.
Wow. That's commitment.
It's about constantly adapting, checking in, making sure your brand is still aligned with what you believe in and what your customers need.
Okay, my mind is already spinning with possibilities. This is powerful stuff. But we're not done, are we? Dorsey has more for us.
Oh, Dorsey's just getting warmed up. He's got 5 more concepts to throw at us, and they all build on these first 2 in some pretty amazing ways. Get ready for harmony, synchronization, cohesion, agreement, and balance.
5 more. Dorsey, you've got my attention. Let's talk harmony. What does that even mean when we're talking about branding?
So with harmony, think of it like you're trying to create this brand experience that feels really, I don't know, pleasing, even orderly to your customer.
I like it.
Even as your brand is, growing and changing and evolving.
Yeah, right.
It's about making sure everything, like every single touch point, every interaction, all of it, it's all pointing back to that core identity.
So even when you're doing new things, reaching new people, you don't want to lose what made people love you in the first place.
Exactly. Dorsey actually uses this analogy of a symphony orchestra.
Okay.
You get all these instruments, all these different sections, but when they all play together in harmony, it's something really special.
It's true. It's bigger than the sum of its parts, right? So how do you orchestrate that kind of harmony, but with a brand?
Dorsey says it all starts with understanding the why.
Oh, the why again.
Yeah. It's always about the why.
Yeah.
What are the core values? How does it look? What's the tone of voice? Like what really clicks with your people? Once you know that you can start weaving it into everything you do.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
It's like having a really strong brand style guide, but it goes way beyond just like the visuals.
Well, way beyond it.
It's everything you do.
Yeah, it's the feeling.
Yes.
That's synchronization, the next concept.
Synchronization. Okay, I'm not going to lie. When I hear that, I think about syncing my devices.
I know, right?
Like, it's important, but not exactly, the most exciting thing.
Well, Dorsey's take on synchronization is actually super interesting. A lot of people think synchronization means you don't change too much, right?
Yeah, like you slow down.
You're just like, no. Actually, it's about coordinating how all that change happens,
Okay.
both on the inside of your company and then how it looks on the outside, too.
So everybody is moving together.
Everyone's in sync.
That makes way more sense.
Dorsey actually compares it to a medieval city.
A city.
Yeah.
Okay.
Think of the outer walls.
Mm-hmm.
That's your outermost audience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you've got these inner layers, right?
Mm.
And all of it leads to the very center. That's your core customer base.
Okay, I'm with you so far.
So just like a medieval city, successful brand, it needs to have strong defenses everywhere. All the layers of your brand, the marketing, developing your product, how you talk to customers, it all has to be working together,
I get it.
protecting and supporting each other, you know?
It really shows how important that internal stuff is.
It's crucial.
If you're trying to create that smooth brand experience.
Totally. And that focus on how the inside and outside connect, that's really important for cohesion too.
Okay, cohesion. So is that kind of like harmony or?
You're right, they are similar.
Okay.
But cohesion goes a little deeper.
Oh, so.
Dorsey says it's about your brand being a united whole.
A united whole, okay.
And he talks about this watercolor business.
Okay.
At first, they thought the only people they should target were people who wanted to learn how to paint with watercolors. Very specific.
Right, makes sense.
But when they really started looking at it, they realized people weren't just coming for the watercolor techniques.
Oh, really?
It was more than that. It was the creativity, the stress relief, that sense of community.
So they were missing the why.
They totally missed the why, and they actually hurt themselves by going too niche too early.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, they lost sight of that bigger picture.
It's like they forgot why people were drawn to them in the first place.
It happens all the time. They were so focused on one type of customer, and they forgot about the core values that made their brand special.
That is such a good reminder, though.
It is.
Sometimes you got to go wider to find that perfect fit.
You do.
Okay, that's cohesion. Let's talk agreement.
Agreement.
Yeah, so it's kind of formal.
A little bit, right?
Yeah.
But what Dorsey's getting at is it's like this unspoken conversation that happens between you and your customer.
Oh!
Before they even try your product or anything.
I've never thought about it like that.
You're constantly setting expectations.
Interesting. And it's
Everything matters. The price, what you say, your logo, it's all saying something.
you got to be really intentional.
You do. Dorsey actually gives this really interesting piece of advice. He says, buy your competitors' products.
Wait, for real?
He means it.
Is he like advocating for corporate espionage or something?
Not espionage.
Yeah.
Just that you really got to know your competition.
Okay.
Dorsey says you can't really get what they're doing right or wrong until you've experienced it yourself.
That's actually really smart. It's like doing your homework before a big test.
Exactly.
So how does that tie back to agreement?
So Dorsey says people make decisions about your product before they even use it based on the price, right?
Sure, for sure. If it seems too cheap, I assume it's not that great.
Right.
Or if it's way more expensive than everything else, I'm probably not going to buy it even if it's amazing.
That's exactly it. You got to find that sweet spot.
So agreement is all about making sure your price matches what you offer.
And what people expect.
This is amazing. Okay, so we've covered harmony, synchronization, cohesion, agreement. That leaves balance. What does it even mean to have a balanced brand?
So balance. It's not about making everything, perfectly equal.
Okay.
It's more about understanding which parts of your brand need more attention at different times.
So being flexible,
Yeah.
but also strategic.
Exactly. It's kind of like a chef.
Yeah.
They don't just throw a ton of one ingredient in.
A
A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
And balancing the flavors.
Yes, to make sure it all comes together.
Okay, I can see that. It's like you want to highlight different things depending on where someone is in that customer journey, right?
Yes. Dorsey actually talks about this company. They had this subscription model,
Okay.
and they were looking at their numbers over the holidays.
Yeah.
And their trial conversion rates. Through the roof.
Okay.
Same with retention. It was crazy good.
Wow, that's what everyone wants.
I know, right? But here's the thing. They weren't spending as much on ads. And they actually had to cut back on fulfilling orders, too.
Wait, hold on. They were doing less, but getting better results. How is that even possible?
So it turned out that they had just added all these cool new features,
Okay.
and their customers were loving it.
So even though they weren't pushing as hard, people were sticking around.
Yeah, because what they were offering was just that good,
It's a good reminder that sometimes you got to shake things up
For sure.
and focus on that value you're bringing.
Yes. And there's another layer to this.
Yay.
They actually had two versions of their subscription, like a cheaper one
Right.
for everyone, and then a higher priced one with all the bells and whistles.
Okay, so did the fancy one do better?
Actually, no.
Get out! I know. They were spending so much time and energy on that one, and the cheaper one was killing it.
Wow. So it's not even just about how you balance different parts of your business. It's also about figuring out who you're serving. Did
Exactly.
you go for the masses or those super fans?
And that takes us right back to alignment.
Right. Full circle. You really got to know who you're talking to, what they need, and how much they're willing to spend.
It's amazing how it all connects together.
It is.
I mean, we've covered so much today. Alignment, consistency, harmony, synchronization, cohesion, agreement, and balance. It's a lot.
It's like a crash course in branding.
I feel like we've been given a whole new way of thinking about this.
And what's really cool is that Dorsey says you should always be checking in on this stuff.
Oh, so it's not a one-time thing.
Definitely not. Even if you've got a super established brand, you always have to ask yourself why.
Keep revisiting it.
Exactly. Remember that BNNA exercise?
Oh.
That's for everyone. If you want to stay relevant, if you want to keep growing, you got to keep asking the tough questions.
So good. Okay, if you could sum up Dorsey's message in one sentence, what would it be?
A brand? It's not just a logo. It's not a tagline.
It's a lie.
Yes, it's always changing and growing. And you have to take care of it if you want it to thrive.
I love that. Building a brand is a journey, not a destination.
100%.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into A Branding Story by Tyler Dorsey.
Such a good one.
So much good stuff here, from big ideas like alignment and consistency to those smaller details that really make a difference.
Like harmony and balance.
Exactly. I hope everyone listening is feeling inspired and ready to go build something amazing.
Me too.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Until next time.